Well, Twitter has certainly become more interesting in the last few days. Although, always remember that old Chinese proverb about living in interesting times, not necessarily being a good thing. Man, I guess I need to defend both sidesism a little bit. I know people don't seem to like that. Since the whole Ukraine war has started, I've noticed several people post memes along the lines of, like those who refuse to take sides have a special level in hell and all that kind of stuff. And, like that's not a permanent kind of positional thing. It's just trying to, take in information and not rush to conclusions like everyone seems to do all the time on, wait for it, both sides. Now, there's certainly not an even balance in how both sides operate or act or do things. The power dynamic is skewed and all the other sorts of myriad concerns, much of which is all kind of at the heart of the problem of why Twitter is becoming the thing Twitter is. Twitter is going through a hard adjustment phase, and who knows how long exactly that's going to take. There is a good proportion of the people who've been on Twitter all this time who are not taking the sudden intrusion of accounts that they weren't interacting with or weren't there previously. They're not taking it very well. Um, and it's hard advice to have to give to people to like be nice to people who you feel have been hurting you, but that also applies to both sides here. Everyone just kind of needs to take this whole thing a little easy here. It's just Twitter after all. It's a place so we can hear about the newest Wendy's burger and shit like that. It's just an advertising platform. It's been allowed to be hijacked for political ends, and it needs to be a more accurate representation of the actual landscape of the population that it serves and all that kind of stuff. Uh, it is actually a good thing in the long term, as long as a couple of unexpected things don't happen and cause the entire thing to just roll off into a ditch anyway. In which case, that's still also not a bad thing, because then it would mean that Twitter is gone. So, I'm somewhat in the camp that, you know, wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing to happen to human society. So long, sayonara, and all that. But in the TTRPG, I hate that term, section of Twitter, obviously that I inhabit, there's like the orc conversation seems to be the thing that everyone rushing in has wanted to bring up, and that, as we can expect, has gone immediately stupid. For the record, if there is any race in D&D that is coded for pre-contact equatorial populations, that would be the lizard folk, not the orcs. As I've said in other videos, orcs and elves are both kind of like mythical reflections of different parts of human nature. And so it's wrong to try to tie either of those to any specific human culture. But like lizard folk for a long time, I've always been like a simple folk who living amongst the ruins of an ancient civilization that's now being swallowed by jungle and swamp, living in little primitive mud huts and wearing simple skin, loincloths and hunting with spears and stuff, and are easily enslaved and used as labor by surrounding civilizations. I feel like really the conversation this whole time should have been around lizard folk, but it's about orcs, and because it's around orcs, there's a lot of grandstanding and just sheer fakery going on. A tweet I posted earlier, and I'm pretty serious about it, is like there's a bunch of stuff being said by people about like the kind of stuff they've been doing in their role-playing games, and I'd be willing to bet at least 80% of that is just all made-up bullshit. It just all seems like a bunch of unlikely scenarios. Uh, it seems unfun. It seems way too purposely tailored to sting at an audience that would not have been there to receive the sting if that was actually something you were doing in your actual tabletop games. So, let's just call me a doubting Thomas on that one. Um, I don't know. People are freaking out in different ways. Uh, like I said, it's not everyone. I'm trying really hard not to like universalize like any of these sorts of things. Like I said, there's a dominant section of the old guard Twitterati that it's not even that they're angry about this. They're actually kind of terrified. They've been living in this echo chamber where they've been telling themselves the absolute worst possible interpretations of their quote unquote opponents for years now. They've absolutely like convinced, and to some degree, some of them have been raised within this environment where everything outside of them is just like, apparently everyone in America has just been sitting around waiting for some sort of signal to start erecting crosses and burning them and putting on hoods, which, you might make an argument there might be a little sliver of that way out there in the deep countryside, but that is not the fucking case. Either that or people have been really good at like hiding shit in their houses throughout my entire life, because I've never seen any like secret piles of sheets with holes in them and a secret storage closet, and people having to like hide their Confederate flags and stuff when they have company over. There's a degree of paranoia that's rampant, and it's making it so that like conversations like are just kind of like there's no point to even getting into these arguments because they're unwinnable. So there's no reason for either side to even bother engaging in it. My best advice that applies for everyone is that if you want empathy, then you should be willing to give empathy. The worst thing you can do to someone who hates you is to be nice to them and to go ahead and have a good time in spite of their efforts to spoil your mood. If you find yourself getting into an argument about orcs or anything else that lasts more than 2 comments, just post a few other things and just bury that down in your timeline and quit worrying about it, because that's not going to go anywhere. Just be polite. Pat them on the head. Agree with them where you can. Don't budge because of the weird stuff. There's, like I said, like these people are making like some of the absolute worst assumptions about all the new people they're seeing on Twitter. And a lot of it's unfounded. I mean, not everyone has got shadow banned or driven off because they're hardcore right-wing neo-Nazis. Speaking just for myself, there used to be a thing called like liberal trolls that had existed back before the age of Trump, and like a lot of us just kind of got excised from the left, and I've made a point of I'm not just going to go up and just sign up with the other team just because my team has seemingly abandoned me, because my team has been idiots for having done so. It's the old comic book thing. You have to occasionally employ monsters to fight monsters now, don't you? And now you have all these monsters on your doorstep, and your own monsters are now on their side. Congratulations. And so it's up to us who are, I guess, the monsters in these scenarios to be nice monsters and prove them the fuck wrong. It's the worst thing you can do to them. It is absolutely really the worst thing you can do to them. Yelling at them, making like, I guess, going too far into the edgelord shit of like poking at people's racial sensitivities and all that kind of stuff now might not be the time, as tempting as it might be. Be chill about this. Things will work out. This is just Twitter. It's all words. And, if you don't think that this applies to you because you're not in the United States, you can't help but notice that you're on the internet watching this right now. So, don't think you're immune. This is going to like have downwind effects of everything, how all the various big social media, big tech companies coordinate with each other is going to be altered, if not entirely broken, by the fact that Twitter is now owned by a quote-unquote outsider. Elon Musk might be a bit of a technocrat, although I don't really feel like he's really a part of the active technocracy. But I'm not sure if you really call him a big tech bro in the same way as you would like Zuckerberg and stuff. So I guess that's subject to personal interpretation. But in either case, everyone needs to chill. There are things that some of the people on the right side who are coming back into Twitter, you don't come in at these people that have been there and are scared of you with your own set of assumptions either. Don't be making the same mistakes. We've got to like learn the hard way apparently. How to interact again, because I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what what to blame it on. I do feel like this all really kind of started towards the end of the Bush administration, but I guess that's a subject for another day. Hit like and subscribe, and stay waspinated.